Wall bouncing. Used for positioning, unpredictability, style points, immersible, and breaking ankles. What's going on, guys? We'll be learning about wall bounces today. Probably one of the most fundamental movement mechanics in Apex Legends. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so the first wall bounce you want to try and learn is just the straight head-on wall bounce, like that. Yeah. Now you're probably thinking, why do you want to learn something like that when it's not very practical in-game? Because you don't see any of like the pro movement players or anyone use just a straight up wall bounce. Well, because it may not be useful in game, but it's significantly easier to learn the other wall bounces if you get the timing down pat for this one, like that. Now, wall bounces at its core, quite simple. As you can see on my little keyboard overlay, all you do, crouch, slide, hit the wall. Yeah, like that. Crouch, slide, hit the wall. Now, the best way to do it, as soon as you hear that sound when you hit the wall, bam, that climbing sound, you hit jump. Now, I find it quite easier. Now, I know some people prefer to use space to wall bounce, but since I'm on mouse and keyboard, and this is a mouse and keyboard tutorial, this is a controller, I prefer to use scroll wheel, because you can get that, what's it called, that, like, you can have a delay, like you don't have to do it perfectly every single time, because you have the multiple inputs, when as if you're doing spacebar, bam, it's only that single input. If you miss that input like that, bam, you will fail the wall bounce. So it's just a lot more consistent to do it with scroll wheel. So just try and practice at the start, trying to practice, bam, then you hear that sound. Now practice to just try and like hit the wall at the peak of your slide jump, like that. And then once you get comfortable doing that, which probably won't take long, you add a jump to it, bam, wall bounce. Now this will probably take you like a long time to actually like get consistent. You'll be able to do it, but you probably won't be able to do it like 100% of the time, because I know it took me like a long time to get it very consistent, so don't think you'll be able to learn this overnight. The diagonal art, a more useful one, as you'll probably see many YouTubers use now, which is just bam, like that. Now, well, that's more straight, then like that, bam. Now this is probably one of the most useful wall bounces, as it can be used to get over obstacles, like for instance, you can wall bounce over that, bam. And you can also use it to get over walls like this, which I will talk about later. See, bam. So it has lots of versatility, and in my opinion, probably the best type of wall bounce. Now, how to do this one? It's quite simple to like the head-on wall bounce. All you have to do is jump up, hit the wall, and you see that how you rotate to the side, like that. I move to the right if I want to wall bounce that way. If I go over this way, I move to the left. That is really beneficial. You can hold A, then bam, or hold A or D, depends on which way you want to go. So as soon as you hit the wall, it's pretty much the exact same with a head-on wall bounce, but instead of holding W, then you hold a directional key, bam, like that. And you can extend these wall bounces, turn it into a wall run, and then bounce. That was a little bit of a bad one, but oh well, you get the point. Then you can just lift off straight away. And then with the front wall bounce, you have to release the W key. With this, you can just hold it like that. Alright, and now also a quick tip with most common wall bounces. I haven't seen any other tutorial talk about this, but if you just do an average wall bounce, I land about like in between these. But now if I do this tip, bam, there's a lot more distance. And what I do, auto, is add a tap strafe at the end. It just gives you a tiny bit more momentum than as if you'll just normally wall bounce. And this I haven't seen talked about at all. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen any tutorials anyone mention this at all. That you just get that tiny little bit more distance. Now like you think that that's not useful at all, but as if, where is it? Yeah, right here. So if you want to try and wall bounce to this car, bam, you have to climb up like that. But if you do this little tap strafe thing, you don't have to climb nearly as much. So it's not very useful actually in like the heat of combat, but once you get like, once it just builds into your muscle memory, you'll just do it subconsciously. It's just mainly good for rotations and things like that. Alright, now the next one. So the next one that we're going to be talking about is fatigue bounces. Popularized by the YouTuber Treery. You can check out some of his if you want like inspiration or whatever for doing these. These are probably the hardest wall bounces that you can do. All they what they do, so you notice when you jump once, you get the big jump, then you try and jump afterwards, you get this little fatigue bounce. That's what it's called. Now people have found a way to get the fatigue bounce and then wall bounce. Well, not like that. Like that, bam. Now you see I get a lot more height than if I just do, what the hell? If I just do an average wall bounce, like that. So my average wall bounce for speed, like horizontal speed, the fatigue wall bounces are for vertical. And you can also like chain them in going like that. You can go them from a complete standstill. You just got to make sure you jump prior, like that. And helpful because you can do B hop, then bam. It's quite difficult to do, but let's see if I can do it. Yeah, there. See. So you can chain them together with other movement mechanics that use the fatigue bounce or require a fatigue bounce to use. Now with this, you can jump around corners like this. Alright, yeah. Here for instance, you can go around, hit a wall bounce, then go around, then fatigue wall bounce over. Like that. That requires a fair bit amount of practice. It took me a couple of days to get that fairly consistent. But Treery has done a fatigue wall bounce tutorial, and he's and there's a good route for the firing range if you want to practice going around corners with that. It does it helps with like long fatigue wall bounces like this. Lots of long fatigue wall bounces, and short ones. So definitely go check out that video if you're interested. Alright, so with the fatigue wall bounces, there's such thing as called an infinite wall bounce, which is significantly harder. But what it is, fatigue wall bounce, bam, then another fatigue wall bounce, bam, another fatigue wall bounce again. Okay. As you can tell, I don't have it exactly quite consistent just yet. But it can be very useful. For instance, if someone's shooting at you right now, you're at this wall bounce, and fatigue wall bounce, fatigue wall bounce. That would be significantly harder to hit than if you were just running, slide jumping, or whatever. And you can. One good thing with wall bounces, fatigue wall bounces, you can just do like average wall bounce into it by actually jump. Yeah, bam, and then you can go into fatigue wall bounce. You don't have to, like, you can get the fatigue anyway. Alright. Alright, so now, one more, like, wall bounce I have seen. I've only seen about one tutorial on it. And it utilizes a type of physics in Apex. That is in most FPS games. It's an anti-rage mechanism, and it's called a coyote. See, what it is? You can still run off, but you can still jump like that. it's just so people like miss the timing, they can still actually hit the jump. And what people have done, see, I get big jump here, when I do it, I only get small jump. So what people have done, if I go over here, yeah, go over here, can create a wall bounce into another wall bounce. Simple. Or create it into a wall bounce like that. Now that is very useful. And as you see at the first clip I showed on the side of this video, you will see that the last wall bounce I did was a coyote wall bounce. Because I jumped off, then I hit the wall bounce. This isn't the best example right here, because it's not working. Yeah, damn, there we go. To get over that gap. Alright. Alright, so the last wall bounce. That is not as useful, but it has its situations. It is the storm and slide wall bounce. Now I haven't seen many people do this at all. So there's a slide made by a streamer, Storman. Definitely go check him out, by the way. Brilliant content creator. That is pretty much just that. Now it's not the best it's not like good to replace normal slide jumping, as you do lose momentum. But you can bam, straight into it. You don't have to prepare for the massive slide or jump. It's just straight into a wall bounce. Like that. Now to pull this one off, you want to know how to storm on slide. It's quite easy. All you do, just tap crouch, and then jump. I use scroll wheel to jump, but you can use any bind. See, I'm using space. I'm pretty much getting the same thing. And with this, bam, bam, you're like that. It's instant. Yes, you lose momentum, but if you do it perfectly, you don't lose nearly as much momentum, which is very useful. And this is quite useful for just saying if an enemy walks out right here, you don't know that they're there, and they don't know that you're there. They see you, and then you can, if you're running this, then you can just bam, straight away duck out of cover down here. Then you have time to, for instance, T-wall bounce up and over, bam, like that. So you can really chain all these different wall bounces together, and that's why I love the mechanic so much. Alright, and now one last thing that I want to go over, which is the just wall bouncing over walls to cancel the climbing animation. You can go like that. Now, how I do this, quite simple. All it is, wall bounce into a tab strafe, straight over. So yeah, you should be able to learn that quite easy once you get every other wall bounce pretty consistent. Because you can do this with the storm and slide wall bounce. You can do this with a fatigue wall bounce. Well, yeah. If I can get it. Yeah, there we go. You can do this with the coyote wall bounce. Like that. You can pretty much do this with everything. But there's one thing that I do, which is I lurch over it. Now, lurching isn't as popular as it should be. Now, lurching is typically used for strafes like that, like the Ra strafe, Yuki strafe, double Ra strafe, and stuff like that. Please let me know if you want a tutorial on them, because I'll more than happily make one. And what happens with it? Instead of doing a tab strafe over, you have to move your mouse camera with it. But with a large strafe, or with a large wall bounce, bam, you don't have to move your crosshair at all. You can keep it on the target. We'll say that bin is the target. I can wall bounce straight over. Now that is a lot more beneficial because I can get that little bit more damage off than if I straight wall bounce over like that. I get nearly not as much damage. Now I haven't seen this done in many places at all, but it is just yeah, it's amazing how big the difference is. It doesn't seem that big, but it is. Alright, and that is all that I want to cover in this guide. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day. And also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and give feedback in the comments, please. Alright, see ya.